this is precisely what we are facing now. Our situation has changed for the worse. The new year is upon us. Our children will soon be going back to school. Places of learning will soon reopen so that they can resume their studies. We will want to get back to work, to earning, and to looking for work. We want our life to resume. We all have plans and hopes and dreams for 2021. Perhaps the greatest of them all is the simplest. We wish for the new year to bring better health, stability and prosperity for ourselves and our families. We want it to be better than the year that has passed, because it's been a horrible year. It's been a year that has been filled with hardship. This can become our common reality if we return to the spirit of solidarity that we have displayed throughout 2020. We can, and we will, and we must defeat this pandemic. But we can only do so if we all play our part.
Welcome back, guys. Pepper's Echo. Andre, yeah. Let me just take this guy out of there. There we go, sorry. Welcome back to Pepper's Echo. Off. My counterpart, Nelia's not going to make it this evening, so you are stuck with me. But good to be back and chatting with you guys again. And yeah, hopefully I can make it a little bit interesting for you as well. Also, as you know, Pepper's Echo is basically just the man in the street from the outside looking in. We have no huge researchers behind us. Yes, what we speak, we're trying to speak about facts. Sometimes we do speculate as well. I always say, if you're wanting to find something from one of the big guns or something to that effect, then an important part would be to take a look at either a Ronaldo Gous, a Chris Wyatt, a Roman Kabanak of Morning Shot, Jim from Jim Warfare, or Joe Emilio. I will put the links in the bottom there for you as well. But otherwise, I'm really, really chuffed to be back with you and chatting. Not much has gone through the politics. I suppose a lot more than what I should know has gone through the politics, but I have been on holiday as well. I'm back at work again too, and back behind the streaming screen. Before we continue, I would please like you to please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video far and wide, because that's the only way that I can get the message out there. So please like and subscribe this video as much as what you can. If you have any good ideas on any subject that you would like discussed, if you'd like us to discuss, doesn't have to be political, can be anything in Cambodia, can be anything in South Africa, can be anything of interest, whichever you like, would be really, really great to let us know. Drop us a line at peppersecho@gmail.com, PEPRS echo@gmail.com, and let us know. And it would be really, really, we'll try really hard to do it. And if you'd like to come onto the show, please do so. I mean, there's a few people that I would love to come have on the show. I'd love to have Ronaldo Gous on the show. I do believe that when things get better, that he would be I'd like to have Flip King, maybe Carl Newbear, pastor of church in Alberton. Flip is a pastor of People's Ordinary Church or Church for Ordinary People in Kimberley. There's a couple of people, Quibberskin, who deals with finance, brokering and that in South Africa, which would be really, really great as well. But for time being in that, it is just me. Also, I have looked at the viewing times on Pepper's Echo, and it does find that half an hour seems to be the limit for most people. So without ado, I'm not going to be pushing for an hour slot all the time, because I do believe the end becomes pretty repetitive, and it also ends up with us dropping off the last 20 minutes always. So yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. It still says Andre Nina. Thanks, Divan. I have Divan at least watching there. Hello. Hello, Divan. Pleased to have you on the side over here as well on YouTube. Okay, as you took a look, today I would like to chat, and I'm going to chat about COVID-19, South Africa, probably the world as well. It's actually a site that I actually want to go into. So you'll find me looking a lot to that side, because a lot of my work that I have got, or programs that I've got that I want to refer to, are on my second screen. Hence the reason I want to put them onto that side. But South Africa, I look at Cambodia. Where I am at the moment, it is not as badly hit as in South Africa. At the moment in Cambodia, we've only got 20 cases of COVID, and a total of 391 cases that were had, 371 recovered, no vaccination at the moment. If I take a look across some of the world figures, for instance, China only has 588 active, 4,634 deceased, 82,000 recovered out of 87 total cases, but they've got 9 million vaccinated already. Now, the vaccination is a question and a query by itself. If we just want to take a look at vaccinations, we can take a look at Britain. Maybe I should share this screen. The one that I look at, it is a screen called COVID Visualizer. And I'm more than happy to actually give it a share there. Bring it in. There we go. I'm happy to sit in the bottom part here, so that I can take a look. And in the United Kingdom, as you can see, you have 1.5 million active, 80,000 deceased, 780 recovered, which is a very low recovery rate on it as such, and 1.3 million vaccinated as such already. We can go over to the United States. Take a look and see the United States has 8.9 million active cases, 381,000 deceased, which is a very, very high decease rate. 13,000, not 13 million recovered, total of 22 million, and 6.6 million vaccinated. Of course, we're going back down to the bottom of Africa over here, where we want to take a look at South Africa. South Africa currently has 224,640 cases active of COVID-19. And then we have 32,824 deceased and 956,000 recovered. Take a look at a little bit more charts, a few more charts on South Africa over there, which shows that clothing still sells on a COVID site. But yeah, on the site, it shows that we've got 20,000 cases, 550 deaths, 119,000 tests, 0 vaccinations, active, 224,000, deceased, 32,000, 956,000, recovered, 1.2 million in total cases, 7 million tests. Now, the tests actually show that only about 12% of the country has been tested. If 12% of the country has been tested with about 2.7% death rate, that means you have about a 97.3% survival rate on the COVID scale in South Africa. Now, it doesn't sound very much. We can actually just take that away for the time being. It doesn't really sound very much. And this is what I get from people, because this is one of the things I want to talk about this evening. Is there's a lot of people that are skeptical. There's a lot of people who are paranoid. There's a lot of people who are great believers, take COVID extremely seriously. There's a lot of people who take COVID lightly. There's a lot of people who take it as a total farce. there's a lot of people, once again, going into the conspiracy side that believe it is a one world order and a reset for the world. Now, I was just taking a look at South African figures, as you could see there right now, which, as I said, has a 2.7% death rate on the cases, on the active cases, which means we have a 97.3% survival recovery rate as such. So, what is it worse than the common cold? Is it worse than TB? Is it worse than diabetes? Is it worse than many other diseases or illnesses that are curable or that people get, that people die from? The question with COVID is probably the way that it spreads more easily. It also, if I had to say to you, you know what? Here's a pack of jelly beans. Now, I love jelly beans. And so if you don't love jelly beans, make it a pack of peanuts. Make it a pack of your favorite sweets or your favorite nibble snack. I said to you, here's a pack of your favorite nibble snack. Your popcorn in the cinema. And you usually finish that popcorn before the movie's credits or opening credits are finished, because that's what popcorn is. But I give you a pack of jelly beans. And I say to you, go for it. Take 2 or 3 jelly beans there. You know what? Enjoy. But I say to you, 2.7% of those jelly beans, so say 2.5 jelly beans, will kill you. I want to know how many of those jelly beans will you eat? And that is my question when it comes to the people. Now, I'm not even going towards the sides at the moment. I know there's a lot of controversy in the fact of PPE, protective clothing or equipment, etc., that has been, should I say, corruptly purchased, lost, given away, you name it, done away with by the government as such. And yeah, there are a corrupt bunch of hooligans, which I have no problem in referring to. You know, they've messed it up totally. They don't have enough beds. If they reacted properly, if they didn't squander the money properly, there would be enough beds. But would the cases be any lower? And if I gave you those jelly beans, let's get back to the jelly beans, and I said to you, here we go, 2.5 will kill you, but most likely not. Would you dare eat one of those jelly beans? Now, if you were a smart ass, you'd tell me, yeah, I'll take the chance. It probably won't be that jelly bean, which is what most people are being at this very time and moment. They're being smart asses and they're going, well, you know what, it's probably not going to be me. So why the hang is this all happening to me? And you know what, I was a skeptic. I have been, and I also don't want to push it into paranoia either. But I was, and I had a cousin's daughter whose husband had lost his parents 2 weeks apart from COVID. I've heard of a couple of people here and there, but it really hit home to me when a friend of mine, same age as me, as healthy, if not healthier, full of life. You know what? He's really energetic chap, great guy. Everybody enjoys him. And I think it was 2 days before Christmas, he died of COVID. And I had to sit down and I had to rethink. This irritating person that complains about masks, that complains about curfews, that complains about alcohol, that complains about social distancing, that complains about, you know what, having to close off areas, that complains about groups not being able to come together. And I think to myself, you know what, yeah, we can't hold both on the same side. We can't say, well, you can't put these measures into place because you're a corrupt bunch of hooligans. You can't put the two together. They're a corrupt bunch of hooligans, but we need to have measures in place. You know what? Taking one away because of the other. Two wrongs don't make a right. So just because you're corrupt, just because you've stolen 500 billion rand, because you've stuffed up the the bed situation, you've stuffed up the hospital situation, the testing situation, you're trying to track people. I don't believe in that tracker, by the way. I just don't. I think there's much better ways of doing it, and there's other ways that you can do it. But that tracker app, I'm sorry, it's out the window with me. I don't believe in it. You know what? I think, honestly, instead of utilizing the situation as a wonderful way of turning a good, great country like South Africa into a communistic country, which I think Christmas came early in July for the ANC and their little military wing called the EFF, because don't tell me they don't allow that. But that is a story for another day. But yeah, it has been wrongly handled, definitely. But does that mean that we shouldn't handle it at all? Take a look at Europe, take a look at Britain, the UK, the United States. These guys are dying like flies. And if you take a look at what we said 12% has got how many deaths in South Africa? 12% has got deaths of 32,000, 224,000 active, 32,000 deaths. I'm actually just ramming a calculator into my hand here at the moment. But if I had to say tested was 7 million tests, we've got if we go right to the bottom, our South Africa's population is 55,653,000, of which 2,181,000, no, sorry, it's 2.18% has COVID-19. Now, 55,653,000, 654 times 2.18%. At 1,213,249. So 1,213,000. I'll leave the change off so that it doesn't look so bad. Over 1 million people have COVID. We've had 1,214,000 cases that we know of. So this is what they've said: 55 million people, and they calculate 2.18% of those 55 people. However, of those 55 million, only 7,120,000 has been tested. So that's about 12%. 7,120,000, 847, divide by our 55 million, 653,654, equal that times 100 is 12.79% of the country is sitting with being tested. And of that 12 million, we have a 2.18%, not 55. You can only count the percentage of which has been tested. So I would say if 12.7% of the country is tested, what about the other 78? Not 78. 12%, what about the other? Yeah, 78%. If we have to take that million and multiply it, you're going to sit with a couple of millions more that we don't know about, And these are people that haven't been tested, can't be tested, can't afford to be tested, can't get to be tested, couldn't care to be tested. Don't worry about being tested. How bad is it really? Look, I don't know if it's a pandemic or not a pandemic. I am not a doctor. I've seen the greatest of doctors claiming that it is a farce. I've had the greatest of doctors claiming at what a huge pandemic it is. If we take a look, we say the latest indicators from 77,000 tests, another 399 fatalities were also reported, taking the death to 32,000. In the Eastern Cape, 85 people were reported to have died. Free State 11, 69 KwaZulu-Natal, 96 Limpopo 5, Mpumalanga 15, Northern Cape 12, Western Cape 106. The latest figures are said to be an indication of the increased movement and interaction of people over the December holiday. The country is under level 3 lockdown with exclusions, but this week's bulletin from the health minister, Zweli Mkhize, showed there were over 100,000 new cases in the past week. Surely that should bother people somewhere along the line. I mean, Monday, the 4th of January, 12,601 new cases, 434 deaths. Tuesday, 5th of January, 14,410 new cases, 513 deaths. Wednesday, 6th January, 21,832 new cases, 844 new deaths. Okay, Andre, but they are obscured. Yeah, possibly. I'm not denying that fact either, but I'm still telling you that 12% of the country has been tested. And at 12%, we have 224,000 active cases and 32,000 deaths. We've got to multiply that by at least another 8 or 9 times to get to the real figure of deaths. And then you take off the top what you want to, but don't tell me that there are not vicious deaths coming from COVID. And that's my biggest concern, is that people are taking this extremely light in a sense. COVID rap, at least 1.9 million people are dead worldwide. Pope Francis urged people to get the vaccination, calling opposition to the jab suicidal denial. Okay, and that's something, and I actually just flightfully or quickly read something by Flip Kin that was actually looked at about a lot of religious groups look at it as the mark of the beast. If you now get this vaccination in, I've had a medical doctor or somebody who's written 50 million books, very, very rich of it, extremely knowledgeable, saying that the vaccination actually has a certain crystal in which works with 5G and you can be tracked. And this can be, it's, you know what, we can run it around the bush 1,050,000 times. But if that vaccination works, and we need to travel. If I need to travel, I need to take the vaccination. Well, I am skeptical in saying, vaccinate the couple first before me. I'd like to see what happens to them. But if it has to happen, it has to happen. We've got old age homes, people locked in old age homes that haven't seen town. And I know it for a fact, my mother's one of them, that hasn't been out of the old age home since February last year. So it'll basically be a year that they've been locked up for. And yes, they try and make life as easy as possible. But what if that 2.7%, that 2.5, 3 jelly beans came into contact with them and they came into contact with the rest and their immune systems are not able to recover? What then? We're having deaths of hundreds in the days. UK cases top 3 million. China tightens restrictions. Australia's third city enters lockdown. Burundi to close its land and lakeside borders from Monday. France against matches with UK teams. Plans to extend curfew restrictions. 63 cases of the UK mutation found in at least 8 US states. And that's another thing, is the strings that are changing, or the strains. 9 arrested as Danish virus curbs protest turns violent. Mexico hits daily COVID-19 record with 16,105 new cases. Cuba tightens more. As of today, the cumulative total of COVID-19 cases identified in South Africa is 1,214,176. That was a day ago, and an increase of 21,606. If we take a look back at this form, I just want to take a look again. Should have been sharing it again. There we go. And I just want to pop it in and put myself at the bottom there. And I can take a look at this line there. Now, the yellow line is the active cases. They've gone up and they came down. Beautiful. And then all of a sudden, from about the 9th of December, beginning December, we were sitting at 40,000 active cases. Even less, 37, 25, 11. Okay. 1st of December, 38,124 cases. That's what we were sitting on. 19th of 9th of the 1st, my apologies, 224,000 from 38,000 to 224,000. The graph looks small. Yeah, but Andre, look at the recovery rate. Yeah, we damn well should have a recovery rate that high because we've gone what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times more. 5, almost 6 times more people that have been active. And that's just after December. Guys, surely we must actually look at reality somewhere along the line. It's a farce. It's a world order. We shouldn't wear a mask. That's the biggest question that also comes up. Why wear a mask? Why not? Why not? Well, the mask doesn't stop anything from coming in. Sure as hell stops it from coming out. And the reason I tell you, I don't need some medical science or anything to that to tell me, because the school where I work, I get to wear either a mask or a shield all day long, but I may not work or be in that school without some form of protective, personal protective equipment on, which is your mask or your shield needs to be on at all times. Now, when moving about, I use a mask when I'm sitting down working, or if I'm teaching in the front of the class. It does make a voice projection a little bit easier when I speak with the shield on. Let me tell you, I need to clean that shield at least twice a day. I can clean it daily as well, but I clean about twice a day. If you just take a look on the front of the shield, clear shield, take a look at the front of the shield, at everything that is coming out of your mouth, that is projecting out of your mouth, that you even have no idea from. And I'm not spitting, it's nothing running off there, but you can actually see everything that is coming out of your mouth. Okay? Have you worn it with a mask before? Yes. Does it happen with a mask? No. So bottom line is, guys, I don't need a medical professor. I don't need somebody who's done 50 million tests, etc., 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 to tell me that the mask is somehow preventing. And if it doesn't prevent you from getting anything in, which most masks don't, it is definitely preventing you from putting it out there. Hence the reason, wear the damn mask, is what I'm saying. It's not a suppression thing or anything to that effect. The mask is there for a reason, guys. Wear it. Yeah, but a cloth mask doesn't work. Sure, it doesn't work, but it's still stopping projectiles or anything coming from you and the people around. And we have a wonderful air system which does blow things around. And if I'm not mistaken, the virus is able to live or stay alive for about 2 hours, depending on the temperatures, etc., etc. Those I'm not into. I don't know. But I do kind of know that COVID is real. If you take a look at the testings, and the increases from 38,000 to 234,000 in basically 1 month, you have basically increased your active by 200,000, just under 200,000. Let's say 194,000, somewhere around about there. 96 actually, 196,000. Ridiculous, guys. So what do? We jump up in arms when the president, who is a spineless jellyfish, I'm not going to go that way. I'm not looking at the corruption at the moment. What I'm looking at tonight is actually just going, guys, is Corona real? Do we take it seriously? Is this COVID-19 a killer? Should we not abide by these safety rules? And many people are saying, I won't abide by it because the government are so corrupt. Two wrongs don't make a right. The government is so corrupt, and we should have been more prepared. We should have had beds right. We should have had hospitals right. If you take a look at, I don't know if it is the last program on carte blanche, but one of them actually tells the story of a doctor where, and I don't know why this isn't public news. I don't know why this isn't spread all over the world, because what he did is, it's in South Africa. It's one of the first doctors to actually do this in the world. And yes, he was warned against it. It is a new procedure. And the World Health Organization, why the hell they weren't so happy with it? If they weren't, I don't know. But this lady's husband was rushed to hospital and popped on a ventilator. And this doctor, black doctor, very nice guy. Why I say he's a nice guy, because his life has nothing of he even says, well, I had a happy childhood, and then he ended up being chased away with genocide. I think he comes up from, I'm not going to even try and guess now, but he ended up being chased away with genocide. Then he was ended up thrown into a military prison in his young days and being tortured and ran away. And then he went to actually end up going to look for an uncle who shunned him, who eventually ended up in I think a UN camp. And then he ended up finding I think it's a church organization, which helped him to get to South Africa, where he wanted to get, because he believed that this is the country that would be better, and where he was able to study medicine. The nice thing, and why I say good chap, is he doesn't blame anyone. It's not apartheid. It's not white people suppressed me and this, and I haven't had the chance. And it was because, you know what? I had a good childhood. I had a misfortune throughout my teen years, and that, which was a traumatic experience. I had an opportunity that was given to me. In the end, I took it. And he actually phoned up this lady and said, well, you know what? Your husband's very, very bad. He's on a respiratory system. Doesn't seem to be getting any better. Yeah, there's a new procedure that I would like to do on your husband. I haven't lost a patient yet, but let me do this. And basically what he does is he will stick something down. I don't know what it's called. Watch this carte blanche episode for it. And he sticks it into the lungs, which they like, oh, don't shove anything into the lungs with respiratory problems or with COVID. But he did. And what COVID actually does is it actually forms mucus in the lungs. But in that lung hole, that mucus gets hard and actually creates a plug. And this is what stops the breathing. So as the mucus is going in, it just creates a plug and stops breathing. So even when you're getting oxygen, you might prolong the time to be able to have your antibodies or your immune system fight it off well enough, or you just might prolong the time to have these mucus plugs forming in your lungs, which then suffocate you. What he was able to do is actually see these mucus plugs, and it actually shows you. It's pretty, but anyway, he actually then got to putting in there and sucking out these mucus plugs. Needless to say, he has saved the gentleman. The gentleman's at home. He's one of the recoveries who was about to be one of the death statistics. Why isn't this worldwide news? I don't know either. That should be worldwide news. What I do know is, right now, is COVID is a real and actual virus, a disease. It's a killer. It's worldwide. It spreads easily. That's what makes it deadly. That's what makes it not diabetes. That's what makes it not, and I don't want to say TB, because TB spreads pretty easily as well, but it doesn't spread as quickly. That's what makes it not HIV. You don't sneeze on somebody and so all of a sudden he's got HIV. You've got that. You can touch your eye with something that you've touched a COVID, and you've got it. Hence the reason sanitizing so heavily that we can't even have dirty thoughts anymore. But just taking a look at everything. So we look at South Africa, and of course, one of the biggest things that comes up is booze sales ban. Cape Town restaurants struggle to survive amid alcohol sales. The recently imposed lockdown regulations have stolen happiness and joy from many South Africans this festive season, according to a study that analyzed the sentiments of South Africans via their tweets. So they looked at Twitter. Yes. There's two sides to that story. It does damage the economy. It does damage business. Sadly, because of South Africans, first of all, it is your fault that South Africa is back in the situation that it is there. It is your fault because if people listened and they didn't go and get into these, I should say, major groups and gatherings, And they go, oh, well, it's all at the locations. Yeah. And then they had the Rage Fest in Margate and Shelley Beach area and all up the East Coast, etc., which they eventually had to stop. Like thousands of people came like sweating and coughing and splutting and jumping all over each other. Because why? All of a sudden, well, COVID's gone. COVID's not gone, guys. COVID isn't gone. COVID's here and it's alive. It's sad, it's true. And the impact on South Africa is bad because apart from a fact of the matter that South Africa has been hit probably one of the hardest countries in the world, and they've also missed their deadline to pay for their vaccine on the 15th of December. Solidarity is working on trying to actually get the payments and the deposits made for it. However, they missed it, and the government's done nothing to secure supplies of COVID vaccines. So much less is put in place at a vaccine strategy. So basically, I quote, in all honesty, South Africans can expect to be among the last countries to receive the COVID vaccine. That is if we can even afford to get the vaccine. What's the way forward? The way forward is masks. There will be COVID-19 treatments coming out. There'll be new COVID-19 treatments out. Therapies will be administered more effectively. Doctors will be better prepared. Hopefully, also depending on where we're throwing our money around once again on the government. Coronavirus testing should be faster. Vaccines. Staying the same in 21. Masks, distancing, and hand washing. That is not going to change. Life will change to the fact of a lot more online. And instead of fighting it, guys, I would suggest that we try and accommodate it. They also say, there's a saying that goes, many suffer at the hands of the few, because there are people who abide by it. There are people who wear their masks. There are people who sanitize. There are people who don't go out when it's not necessary. There are people who avoid crowds or keep their social distancing and don't go out when it isn't necessary. You know what, as far as the restaurants concerned, it's great. You know what, those restaurants would be making money if it wasn't for the fact that the few, once again, that I say the many suffer at the hands of the few, and the restaurants are suffering at the hands of the few. Those that cannot control over drinking alcohol, those that cannot enjoy themselves without alcohol. And you know what, I'm sorry if I'm going on, I'm a smoker, and I was like most outraged at the fact that you should be able to smoke. But I don't think smoking has ever caused anyone to act silly, to actually do irresponsible things, maybe drive irresponsibly. But even when you're in a crowd and you're acting and you're going bananas, it then creates more of a problem because you are still then not social distancing. You're running around doing all kinds of stupid things. And when people do it in masses, it gets even worse. You start not taking precaution, you start not caring, and you're dropping your guard. If you are happy to go out, have a glass of wine, have your 2 or 3 beers, or 2 beers, let me not push people over the limit now, but if you're happy to have your glass of whiskey, your glass of brandy or whatever, 1 or 2 of those, fine. But people insistently, and unfortunately it is very, very rife throughout South Africans, in the location areas, and sadly, even in the city pub areas, things to that effect. I would probably say, and you know what, the fact's a fact, I'm not being racist here, in the location areas it's even worse. Partly culturally as well, because culturally you can actually sort of like stand on top of each other, be next to each other, etc., etc. Sharing is something that is also cultural. It's a good thing to share, but no, you shouldn't do it with COVID. And because we have not abided by it, people have decided, oh, well, you know what, it's something that has been put in there for 2020 and it is now over and we can go and do what we want to. It has chased up, as you can see, nearly 200,000 cases, more within the last month, and it's had to be pressed down again. And sure, it's had to be pressed down by a corrupt government. If the government had actually jumped in and done what they needed to do, it would have lessened the active cases. It wouldn't have made COVID any less deadly. It wouldn't have taken it away. A vaccine is needed. Is the vaccine from hell? Is it the mark of the beast? No, I don't think so. That's something I'd like Flip Ken to come on and speak to us about. However, guys, all I'm saying is stop trying to disprove COVID and actually just try and stay alive. Those 3 jelly beans in that packet could be yours. It could be your wife's, it could be your mother's, it could be your father's, it could be your brother's, it could be your friend's. Rather try and comply than try to deny. I know the stupid things that come up. I mean, I myself have said, how stupid can you be to try and close the Garden Routes beaches, but you leave Durban beaches open? Because, I mean, Durban beaches is just like thick with people. And you leave them open except for the 16th, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, the 31st, and the 1st. Otherwise, everybody just go bananas and spread it. And we know the worst interaction happens on the Durban beaches. The Garden Route is probably far more socially distancing and et cetera, But we should have people behaving in such a way that we don't need to close down beaches. And we can say, guys, just make sure you do that. But I mean, we've even got churches, and I don't say it's a bad thing, but we've got churches that can't open because they can't say, we can only take 50 people, make your booking. Because why can he go to church and I can't? I need to go in there. I'm important, whatever. So churches have to go online. We need to learn to actually work online a lot more. You know that point where we were socially using social media and we were complaining about it, and you know what, people should be freer. We now need to get used to dealing with each other on social media more. We need to be dealing on a Skype. We need to be dealing on a Zoom. We need to be dealing on a WhatsApp, on a Telegram, on whatever social media you're using. Sadly, I'm not saying become paranoid. All I'm saying is become responsible. Stop trying to disprove something. I will throw stones at the government for this. ANC, you rot. You could have done far better. You could have been far more prepared. You could have had this country far more under control if you would stop trying to shove money into your own pockets and to play communistic games. So yes, the country has been marred by that as well. But I do not excuse the people of the country either. Alcohol is not the be-all and the end-all. If we'd used it responsibly, we would not have damaged the business owners of liquor stores. If we'd used it responsibly, we would have not have damaged the business owners of pubs, of restaurants who are closing, who don't know where they are going to feed their children from tomorrow. Not only the owners, but the man in the street, the waiter that works there, the bartender that works there, the packer, the cleaner. Do you think they get paid when those places close down? No. Do you think they've got savings to fall on down? No. But where does it start? It starts by you and I, not waiting to see what happens. You know what, if this happens, that happens. Because you're corrupt, I'm not going to do this. I won't wear a mask. A mask is going to drown me. A mask is creating more. You know what? No. Guys, mask up, social distance. Be responsible is all I'm saying. Taking a look at it. The future, this year, no, you're not going to be going on international holidays this year. No, you're not going to be taking that mask off this year. No, you're not going to be forgetting to sanitize your hands this year. No, you're not going to be getting into big groups this year. I'm not the greatest fan of vaccination, but guess what? We're probably going to get vaccinated this year. What makes me even more worried about vaccination is sometimes you have an adverse effect. Now, I moved from the Eastern Transvaal to the Free State in the middle of winter with my family, and I decided that's it. They haven't experienced a Free State winter before. So I said, everybody get the flu shot. So everyone got the flu shot. Nobody got ill except for me. I have never been so ill in my whole life as the time when I took that flu shot. So I'm a little bit worried. You know what? Maybe I'm that one jelly bean that actually gets the vaccine that suddenly gets more ill with the vaccine than what it would if I didn't take it. But you know what? If it is, it is. Sometimes I've got to walk on a leap of faith and take maybe the lesser of two evils. Maybe I've got to try and be more responsible. But what I'm saying is, guys, if we take a look in general, we can make it better for everyone. We can have the restaurants in business. We can support them. If you're happy to go out for a nice meal, yes, we've got a curfew. Why is that curfew in place? Because people are running around doing stupid things at that time of the night. Instead of saying, being responsible and saying, you know what, unless I have to be out, let me not be out. So now we've got a curfew. So now what happens? The restaurant can't say, listen, stay with me until 10 o'clock while you have a responsible meal and a nice chat to maybe 3 or 4 people that are around you that are also responsible. But because alcohol's involved, and most people do use it responsibly, but because of the few that have been irresponsible, it is affecting the livelihood of thousands and thousands of people. But your anarchy is not going to be their savior. Your compliance probably will be. The sooner we actually comply to being responsible, I'm not saying comply to communism. What I'm saying is comply to responsibility. Think about it. Nothing much more I got to say about that, and nothing much more I'm going to carry on with, because I seem to be going in a circle again. But yeah, let me not forget to give my little captions. Yeah, I do forget about it when I'm talking this much, and I do miss my friend. But please like and subscribe and share. If you've got any ideas, if you've got anything that you want to bring on the show, if you'd like to be on the show, if you'd like something discussed, let's take a look at it. But yes, guys, my bottom line is I'm not going to get paranoid about COVID, but I do believe that we need to, at least one stage, be responsible and actually act responsible. Not communism, but responsibility, and not have one wrong make another wrong to make a right. The government are a bunch of sharks. That's something we'll discuss in another chat. I just want to tell you that COVID is serious. Take it serious. Be serious about it. Go to work. Do your shopping. But don't do unnecessary. And then I need to reiterate Nelius's saying, if your political party was your bank, where would you put your money? And who would you trust with your money? From my side, those watching live, thank you very much. For those watching the replay, thank you very much. We'll see you next Sunday, SA, 2 o'clock, Cambodia, 7 o'clock. Be good. If you can't be good, be kind.